Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the
Your company name here.
studios in Cape Coral, Florida. It's the What's in Your Head podcast.
What are you doing?
What's up, OG5? Hi, Jasper. Say hi. Happy Halloween, you crazy fucks. Boo. Ooh, spooky.
Spoopy.
Welcome back to town, Morgan. When are you leaving again?
Sunday morning.
Gotcha. So I thought it would be only appropriate. Dude, you gotta get down. I can't manipulate my chair with you fat 27-pound ass sitting in my lap.
Badass.
I thought it'd only be appropriate to talk old school Halloween, and it'd be interesting to see the differentiates between the three of us, because back when Morgan was a child, they basically had to wear like straw and like coal on their face for makeup, because what was that, like 1838? And then Mike growing up, Mike being 7 in 2015, things were a lot different from him. So it'd be an interesting contrast between your all's childhood and my childhood in the 80s when it comes to Halloween. So I guess it would only make sense to start with costumes. Morgan, growing up, did your family tend to go store-bought or homemade when it came to costumes?
Mostly homemade.
Great.
Yes. Elaborate.
Yeah, I mean,
It's called Stretch the Topic. Fill time.
yeah, I mean, ghosts and the bed
The typical
sheet
bed
with
sheet over the
14
head?
holes. Oh yeah. A couple of years we did the Charlie Brown bed sheet with all the holes in it and everything. So
Sure.
So is that the extent of your creativity, just cutting holes in a sheet that no one wanted from 6 years ago? Or did you get creative? Did you imitate a movie, a creature, a villain?
Oh, 1 year I was Luke Skywalker, and 1 year I was Indiana Jones. And so, kept up with pop culture.
I think as a young
Miami
kid, you
Vice,
could probably pull off probably Empire Strikes Back Luke Skywalker by just wearing a white karate gi and a black glove. I mean, you could probably get away with it, right? So essentially, that's what he had on. Just wrap some, ace bandages around your ankles. And now you look, hey, boom, there you go. There's a quick Luke Skywalker for you. What about you, Mike? Were you a store-bought guy? Were you a do-it-yourselfer? Were you both? Neither?
No, I think all my stuff was all homemade. Nothing really store-bought. I remember my friends had store-bought stuff. My friend that I grew up with, his parents, I don't know if he bought it or his parents bought it for him, but he got the what's his name from Scream? What's his name?
Ghostface.
Ghostface,
They
yeah.
gave him, yeah.
He bought the ghost face mask, but it was a cool one because it was one of the ones where you squeeze a pump and it would, the blood would fall.
Yeah,
and
it
all
was
that
the
stuff.
double
And that was
laminated. It had
that was the new thing. Like that was cool, and I remember him doing that, but most of my stuff was homemade and just about, once I started to get into the ICP and the underground hip hop stuff, then I would paint my face pretty much every year. But before that, I made my own army uniforms and stuff like that. I always went as a soldier or something like that because that was like the one time of the year I got to dress up as to do something that that I always wanted to do. So everything that I did was homemade.
When I was a kid, it was store-bought. And then when I got older, I would just start making my own. Similar to you, I think when I lived there at Rickenbacker Air Force Base, my brother was in Civil Air Patrol, and he had bought some fatigues from the PX. And so I put on a green HBT shirt, and then you got to have something, right? You need an injury. So I remember I went into my closet, got a metal coat hanger, cut it, wrapped it around the inside of my wrist, and had it come out so it looked like shrapnel. And then I had like fake blood on it. And then I'd wrap like stuff around my head to make it look with ace bandages. And I think I went into the bathroom or no, not the bathroom, the kitchen, because why would you keep food coloring in the bathroom, you moron? I went to the kitchen and got some red food coloring and I squirted it on the ace bandage and wrapped it around my head. Just basically went between my military fatigues and whatever we had in the kitchen in the first aid cabinet. I'm like, okay, bandage here, wrap a gauze around my head, put some red food coloring on it, and went out. But it's funny because when I was wee little, we had store bought, but store bought was a far cry from the luxuries and the advancements in technology. See,
Of
you guys
today.
had, and probably later in your years, Halloween Express, or you would go to the mall and go to like Spencer's and get the Halloween mask. But the idea of those high-end rubber Hollywood style masks in the 70s and 80s, those didn't exist unless you were
Yeah,
like in Hollywood or a big fan of Fangora magazine and you had $300 to mail away for it.
right.
We were kids, and you'll remember this, Morgan. You'd go to like Toys R Us or a lot of people have forgotten about Children's Palace. Children's Palace was around before Toys R Us. But I want to be He-Man. I want to be Casper. I want to be Mickey Mouse. It was literally a plastic smock with a drawing on it. Almost like overalls, little plastic overalls, plastic like trash bag grade plastic, things that would have nowadays wouldn't even sell because of the choking hazard. But it was basically a jumpsuit where it was tied in the back, and then they had this plastic molded mask which had the sharpest edges in the world. You would have a little rubber band and you would slide it over your head, and it would have no shit a little slit about, oh, I don't know, a 16th of an inch. That was your breathing hole. Two little tiny holes of probably the diameter of a Q-tip for your nose, and two little tiny slots. No peripheral vision. You got this plastic smock on, so if you lived anywhere warm, you're dying of sweat. That thing barely fits, so you're walking like this. You got a mask on, no peripheral vision. But the best part, which I've always was sad for my kids, our Halloween took place. You ready for this? After dark.
Oh,
Our shit didn't start until 7:30, 8 o'clock, and it ran till 10. Not this, hey, safety first.
yeah,
For
4 p.m.
4
shit.
p.m. to 7:30. It's you got to wear sunglasses with your goddamn Halloween costume. So we're walking around in this plastic gear with a mask on, with no peripheral vision, barely able to breathe with our pumpkin, walking around in the dead of night. And unless you lived in the suburbs of the city, you barely had street lamps. And that was our costume. It was, and you'd get paper cuts and it's all the. I can still remember the smell. Did you ever have any of those store bought masks, Morgan?
Oh
Morgan
yeah,
or Mike.
yeah. Mine probably had lead paint on them too.
Oh yeah,
So
and
that's
it was,
probably why I'm a little special now.
and it's so crazy the minute details you remember. It was affixed with. Remember the candy necklaces you would eat? You know that little thin piece of elastic? It was affixed with that, but it had two little metal doodads on the end, so they basically stuck it in a hole and it acted like a molly bolt. And that was the only thing. And so you just walk up behind your little brother and just smack him in the back of the head.
Oh.
And so that was our like high end. And I can only imagine that the retail of those were probably $5, which sounds cheap. But keep in mind, the average cost of a GI Joe in 1983 was $3.25. So a $5 costume, that was pretty steep money back then.
Sure.
And then did you go with the pillowcase or with the orange pumpkin?
Pillowcase.
I did pillowcase, yeah.
Yeah. Because you knew you were gonna fill that bitch up. You weren't gonna you walk around the first 10 houses and that pumpkin was full.
That's why I was lucky
You weren't
because
using that.
once I moved to Ohio, I moved into a neighborhood, a development instead of a farm. So I moved into development and a lot of houses, a lot of candy, fill it up quick.
See
Carry on,
that
I'm gonna
was
shut the door because my daughter's voice is bleeding over.
oh. That was I want him to hear this too, but go on, get the fuck out. What are you, some kind of asshole? Fucking dogs.
No,
What
Jasper
the
went out,
fuck?
but Bailey and Chloe refused to, and so then he
Yeah.
went back in because all the
Oh
rest.
no, we saw the whole thing. Um, what was I gonna
Jasper's my
say?
only other dude in a house full of women. So
Yeah,
between me, Carrie, Sariana, Chloe, and Bailey.
that's just you two.
We'll get into it after the Halloween talk, but Chloe sacked my day. My week started off by picking up a dead rat in my bedroom on Monday.
Nice,
We'll get to that
nice.
in a moment.
Um, no, that what I was gonna say was that was the really cool part about growing up, in Cape Coral was, you had your neighborhood, but then, especially the neighborhood that I grew up in, because just south of you, a little bit more in the southwest section, we had one road that separated our neighborhood, and then we had a canal that separated it again. So it was one big cross like this. So you had four different sections of our neighborhood, and you'd hit up, your section, and then you'd move over to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And once we were done there, we'd load up in the truck and we'd go to like our cousin's neighborhood,
Yep.
or we'd move on to, our another friend's neighborhood or something like that. I
Mass
mean,
migration Halloween night.
yeah. And you'd end up with, you know, two, three, sometimes if you were really lucky, you'd have four
You have to be
pillowcases
hauling
of
ass though,
candy.
because you only had like 2.5, 3 hours to get that job done. So you must have been moving.
We kept, I mean, back,
Back in 20.
back in my day, we would keep going, just like you
Last
said. I mean,
week.
these kids start at, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they stop at, like 8 at the very latest. I remember handing out candy one night in Cape Coral, and like my last one was at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I was like, the fuck is everybody? Like, there's
Well,
nobody else. Like, it was done.
when we
But
moved out here to Northeast Cape, because the development's so sparse, like the
yeah.
first 3 years we bought candy and get like one kid.
Mhm.
And then we realized they all would go down to the gated community, which is where when Sariana moved in with us, that's where we took her.
Yeah.
That was my first time experience lower upper class Halloween.
Mm.
We because Carrie worked with somebody who lived in that community. And
Full
so,
bars.
huh?
Full bars.
Not even that. That's one thing. And this could happen in middle class neighborhoods. I've never seen it, but it was a gated community. You had to know somebody who lived there.
Yeah.
Certain houses had fucking hot dogs, popcorn machines, handing out bottles like, oh, here, mom, dad, here, have some Marlowe. We're walking around drinking fucking wine that people are giving us, and or here, have some hot dogs. This is fucking awesome. People driving around their golf carts with 12 packs
Mhm.
of beer in the back. That was my first time experiencing that. We didn't have that back in the day.
No,
Who were the
no, I
assholes who
never
gave away the
experienced that.
pennies? What prick saved up pennies all summer long and decided, you know what? I'm giving out pennies for Halloween.
I think that only happened to me a few times. But isn't that like a religious thing? Don't people like,
Most religious people, most especially like Latter-day Saints and Mennonites and all that, they just don't even bother. They just turn off their lights and maybe go out and have dinner.
yeah.
But what's worse, the penny or the black and orange wax papered covered blob of shit? Like the poor man's candy. That was I've never consumed one of those. Anytime I got those went straight in the trash.
It's not good. It's
No.
not good.
And I don't know. See, I thought that perhaps maybe that was a carryover. Oh, this is what we had in the 30s when I was a kid. You'll love them. But no, that shit carried on until the 90s and the 2000s. You probably still get
Yep.
it today.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm sure you
grossest,
can.
nastiest shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And people think you want it and you don't.
You know, I just had a thought now too. Nowadays, because everything is so, especially post COVID, right? Everything's so hygienic. Now, when
Yeah.
you get candy corn, they're in a separate air vacuum sealed little packet. When we were kids, it was just handfuls of raw candy corn right in the bottom of your bag.
Yeah.
No one cared.
Yeah.
This was handled by some strange dude. Ah,
Yep.
you can
That's
just
exactly what it was. I mean, you had your individual shit, like, your chocolate bars and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that fucking, when you get a bag of candy corn or a bag of, what was some of the other ones that were
okay.
undone
Well,
like
let's
that? There
let's
was a
do this.
few.
Let's have a a top 10 versus a bottom 10 of our preferred candies. So on the bottom list,
Okay.
we got the waxy orange and waxy black bullshit wrapped in the fucking Kleenex.
Hmm. Yeah.
The aforementioned candy corn.
Hmm. I
This
don't
one,
know. I kind of like candy corn.
it has no, it's wax.
See, I do too. I do too. I would have to
Lean into
put
that
that,
mic. You're so quiet.
towards the
Lean,
top
Nah,
of my top
please
10.
lean into your mic. You're so quiet.
not a lot of candy corn. Just a little. Nothing crazy. But
This one divides a room.
it does.
Where do you stand on Smarties?
Ooh.
I'm a
Like
Smartie
Oh, I love
fan.
like the
Smarties.
roll
Yeah. Some people think
or
Smarties are
the because they make the
plastic, the
bigger
original.
individual
The,
ones. So
no,
you're talking about the roll tube. I like them.
then the clear, transparent plastic.
Yep, I like
I know
them.
some people who think that's a trash candy and they throw it aside. To me, that's one of
I like it.
that's my number three, I think.
Really?
Oh, I'm a Smartie. I love a good Smartie.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottle caps.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah,
Not one of
root
my
beer bottle
favorites.
caps.
Bottle caps remind me of
Oh,
public pool in the summertime, not Halloween.
Okay.
I don't mind a root beer bottle cap, but the rest of them I could once again, if it's up to me, same package, same size. Would you rather have a what was it, a 3-pack of bottle caps or a 3-pack of sweet tarts?
Ooh, I think I go for sweet tarts.
Same style candy, same packaging, completely different flavor.
Soft chew sweet tarts though?
No, we're talking
Or
original. We're talking teeth breakers right now.
okay, the teeth breakers. All right.
Because
Yeah,
for
I
Morgan and
go
I,
that.
these were the staples. The sprees, the soft chew shit didn't come out until like 1994,
Okay.
95. Early days, it was chalky ass sprees. If you wanted something chewy, it was a
Sprees.
Reese cup. Where do we stand on Reese cups?
I'm down.
oh, that's probably my favorite.
I'm
When's the
down for the
last,
I'd put
cause.
that as number one.
I used
All
to
right.
love, I used to be a hardcore Reese cup guy. And I don't know if it's where we're located. I don't know over the last 15 years if they're mandating people buy more than they can move. It could be a Florida thing. Maybe it's still better up north, but I have found me personally, anytime I buy a Reese cup, it's kind of white, it's kind of chalky, and it's dry as shit. I haven't had a good orgasmic
It's
Reese cup in probably 15 years. And
it's
it's
the
so
chocolate.
disappointing.
It's the chocolate. They changed the formula of the chocolate. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of chocolate candies out there
Hmm.
that it's almost got like a waxy. It's almost like waxy. It doesn't melt really necessarily in your mouth. It kind of crumbles a little bit and then it kind of sort of melts. It's the quality of the friggin' chocolate. They're starting to skimp out.
I was having a side conversation with a gentleman I know named Zach. He's probably in his late 60s now. He served in the Army and the Navy, and then post Navy and Army, he went on to work for the EOD. I'm sorry, he was EOD in the Army, the Navy, and then he actually worked for the Department of Defense designing weaponry post his career.
Damn.
But we were talking.
That's a lifer right there.
And he's got some cool shit like on his lanai. I think you guys probably seen pictures. He had like the 2/4 inch piece of steel with the big ass hole where they're shooting different weaponry through it.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But we were talking today. I said, one of the hardest parts about getting old is remembering when shit was good. The aforementioned Reese cup. Wendy's back when the chicken sandwiches was actually a whole fucking chicken breast that was so thick the bun would slide off. Now it's as thin as a goddamn McFish. McDonald's is trash now compared to what it was 25 years ago. Just everything, the quality of everything has gone to shit that our kids never experienced the good food, right? And so they
Yeah.
like McDonald's for what it is. But to us, modern day McDonald's is what McDonald's was 20 years ago after you sat in your counter for 5 fucking days.
Now, not that this is good for you, but cigarettes pre 2009,
Hmm.
before they added all the chemicals into it
All the
to
anti-flamming slowed down so you don't catch yourself on fire.
the extinguishing shit. My grandmother used to walk around the house. Well, it was my great grandmother actually. She died when I was really little, but I do remember her. She used to walk around the house with a cigarette in her mouth, and it would burn down, and the ash would be hanging off the end about yay long as she's cooking and doing whatever.
Perfect
And
example of that, Pink Floyd The Wall, when he's sitting
yeah,
in the recliner and he's nodding out. They zoom in, and he's got that long ash.
Yep. But
And
yeah,
to that point, when I worked at Wendy's in 1994, this lady who worked there, she was 84 years old, and she smoked 3 packs of Pall Mall non-filters on a daily basis, and she
Right.
was still rolling hard.
Oh man.
But
well,
so
you hear of stories of people that, well, they're like 100 years old or whatever, and they still smoke 2 packs a day.
what's your secret to longevity? I eat 3 pounds of bacon, 4 packs of cigarettes, and a bottle of whiskey a day.
Yeah. How weird is that? They must have good genes, or maybe they're lying to us. I don't know.
So back to the candy.
Yes.
Pepsi cups used to be good. Now the chocolate sucks.
Yes.
Bottle caps. Mike says yes. I say maybe. But if I have 2 sitting on my bed, because you got to divvy up you got to separate the candy from the good shit from the bad shit. The bad shit you'll eat next week when all the good shit's gone. You leave that at home. The good shit's going to school tomorrow. So the bottle caps would get put in the secondary pile, especially if I had sweet tarts or the aforementioned Smarties. Where do you guys land on sprees?
I like them. The chewy ones?
Yeah.
They're the chewy discs,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So I
Sprees.
haven't had them in forever.
I could
but
take
I
them
like
or
them.
leave them.
I enjoy a good spree. I'd buy a roll of sprees every once in a while.
Yeah, I like them. They're not bad.
Okay, Tootsie Rolls have the chocolatey chew. Tootsie Roll, I think I'm in love. Where do you guys stand on Tootsie Rolls?
No.
Not
Not that I hate
Not
it.
so-
If somebody offered it to me, I go, yeah, sure, what the hell. But I'm not going for it.
Tootsie Roll may be, with the exception of the previously mentioned black shit wrapped in black wax paper.
Yeah.
Tootsie Roll may be one of the few chocolates that has changed because it's always been such a low quality waxy piece of shit that I
Yeah.
can't imagine they've had to change or dilute their recipe at all in the last 30 years. So
I'm sure they haven't.
Tootsie Roll may be the one item that still tastes the same as it did when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Tootsie Roll wagon, when you're dividing up that candy, premium pile, next week's pile, you got a blow pop and a Tootsie Pop sitting there. Do they both go in the premium pile, or does one of them go in the next week pile? Where do you sit, Mike?
I think I'm going blow pop first.
Morgan?
Tootsie Pop all the way,
Yeah.
especially if it's orange.
See, I was one of those kids that I didn't read, and I would just pull the label off, and I was always disappointed when I discovered I grabbed the Tootsie Pop instead of a blow pop. I'm team blow pop all the way.
See, but how quickly did that gum just lose all of its flavor?
Yeah, but you're talking
It
to
went
two
like
guys.
that.
You talk to 2 guys who grew up wanting to buy fruit stripe gum, and nothing has flavor that dies out quicker
Oh,
than fruit stripe
God.
gum.
Oh, my God, that's horrible.
What wore out quick, the flavor on fruit stripe gum or the flavor on Big League Chew?
Ooh.
Big League Chew.
You think that went quicker?
I think if you would have,
I mean,
I think if
the
Go ahead.
difference is that the Big League Chew would wear out your jaw.
that's what I was going to
before you
say.
could flavor.
I think gram for gram, Big League Chew would probably run out quicker, but because you put a half a pound of it in your cheek at one time versus one or possibly 2 sticks of fruit stripe gum. There's a reason why fruit stripe gum came in a pack of 33 because that shit was gone. 15, all 33 sticks were gone within 15 fucking minutes.
I'd say I dare to say the same thing with Double Bubble and Bubblicious.
Ooh, okay. Double Bubble versus Bubblicious.
Remember when Double Bubble was like 2 cents for one piece at the gas station?
I think. Oh, now you thinking of that? I think you're mistaking that with Bazooka Joe because
could have been
Joe
Bazooka
was the
Joe,
one
yeah.
sold
Oh, yeah,
individually with the
Bazooka,
comic.
yeah.
That could have been it, yeah. Because I remember I'd walk into
Well,
the
although-
Circle K and they'd have it for like 2 cents a piece.
Yeah, that was usually the Bazooka Joe,
That's right.
which was
yeah.
basically a thicker version of the gum you got in baseball cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the ones that had the comics on them, didn't
Yep,
they?
they had
They
the
have little
Bazooka
mini
Joe
comic
comics.
strips. That's
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah. Any one of those they wear out so damn fast.
because Hubba Bubba and Bubblicious were basically competitors from 2 different companies. It's a very
Yeah.
similar size pack, same size gum. Probably came from the same fucking manufacturer. They just put in different wrappers.
Yeah.
But I think Hubba Bubba probably came out. No, Bubblicious probably came out on top at the end of the day. Which one's still around?
I think they're all still around.
I haven't bought any.
How often are you going into the store to look and see what's still available?
I don't only if I
For a
do
piece
buy
of
gum, I'm
gum.
buying the fancy like minty shit that comes in the fucking the
This is what it
container
feels like
that.
to chew five gum.
Yeah, right. God, that was a thing.
Buy, buying adult gum.
That was a
Yeah.
thing in the mid 2000s. They made commercials like an Axe body spray commercial.
Yeah.
Like it
They
was like the
they
Matrix.
sexualized everything at
It
the
was
time.
Matrixy shit. And now we are the consistently inconsistent podcast. We do go all over the place. You know who gets credit for sexualizing a non-sexual product in commercial first? And I may be off on this, but this is the first commercial that I remember to the extreme where you're like, when you first saw it on cable TV, like, did I just see that? Herbal Essence. The
Herbal
very
essence.
first Herbal Essence
Yep,
commercial, the
that's
girl's literally having an orgasm on the commercial because it felt so good. Like they changed it at time, but like the very first Herbal Essence commercial, she sounded like she was having an orgasm in the shower, and they were playing this like at 6 o'clock on like NBC, like right
Prime
after,
time.
and yeah, right during dinner. Let's see if I can
Uh,
find it real quick.
Bubblicious is still available.
In what flavors?
Ooh. Hubba Bubba is also still available. Bubblicious is still available in classic flavors like strawberry, watermelon, as well as bursts varieties. And they also have the liquid or burst varieties that have the liquid filled center.
Here you go, all 27 seconds of it.
Strawberry, watermelon,
Can you
cherry,
hear
grape,
it?
and sour apple. No, we
There
can't
are
hear
also
anything.
herbal essences, shampoos, and
Now we
conditioners.
can.
You'll be overwhelmed by the organic herbs, the all-natural botanicals, drenched in pure mountain water. And if you find that exciting, wait until you see your hair.
Now, could you imagine being a soccer mom making dino nuggets and French fries for your kids before you're getting ready to go off to Boy Scouts and you're watching Entertainment Tonight and your kids are sitting there and that's what the the kids hear? Like, am I hearing that right? But yeah, and on the video they got her like her hand going down the soapy glass door in the bathroom and shit. So I think Herbal Essence is probably one of the first ones I can think of to like overly sexualize a non-sexy product. I mean,
Mm,
pantyhose and legs kind of did, but that made sense. You're trying to sell women on getting nylons and make their legs look better, but this is fucking shampoo for God's sake.
sure.
So there was one. It was a Nair, I think it was,
Yep.
back in like the late '70s, early '80s, and all the models were in short shorts,
We
and
wear short
yeah,
shorts.
so yeah, exactly. So
Who wears
that was
short
kind of one of
shorts?
the first ones.
So on our candy ranking, we kind of briefly talked about whether they're good or bad. Um, Obviously in the mid 90s, that's when the warheads, the all the sour candy started coming out. Warheads, what was the other one? Warhead was like one of the first super duper sour candies. Tear jerkers was one. And of
I
course,
don't
fifth
know if I
grade
had those.
and sixth grade, you proved your manliness by how many warheads you can consume at one time because they were so goddamn sour. Warheads, yep, and tear jerkers. Tear jerkers,
I
I
can
think, were
remember that.
worse. You don't remember tear jerkers?
Yeah,
My mouth is
maybe.
watering right now just thinking of eating two or three tear jerkers at one time. Um,
Oh, you got me beat. That I
can't handle a tear jerker.
no, I
Maybe
don't do
I
sour.
might have tried one before. It
You look at
looks a
that
little
package.
familiar.
The tear jerkers were early on. I think Warheads beat them out. They're the one that has like the nuclear
Yeah,
bomb symbol. That's probably
yeah,
one you'll be more familiar with.
yeah.
What candy did
No,
I
Warheads I
name?
definitely remember. Yeah.
What candy did I not name that got you excited on Halloween?
Um, I don't know. I've always been like a melting pot for stuff where I kind of like a little bit of everything, you know.
Maybe we can define it real more
I
defined. Were you a hard candy, sugary guy like all the candies we mentioned previously, or were you a more fan of the chocolates and the caramels and the nuggets like the Twix versus the Snickers and the Hershey's and the Three Musketeers?
It's a mix. It really is a mix. I'd say probably my favorite chocolate candy bar would be like a Butterfinger.
Really?
Yeah.
I like
Um,
Butterfinger ice cream, but I really didn't get into the Butterfinger too much.
yeah, that was one of my favorites that I used to like to get all the time. Um, but I also like, I still buy a pack of Skittles every now and again.
I enjoy
I bought a pack, I bought a Kit Kat bar today, just to have as a little thing while I was at work. But
I remember when
um,
Nerds came out. Do you remember the original Nerd
Nerds,
flavors?
the what?
The original. When Nerds came out, they only had one box, one flavor.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it was two flavors in one box. They had
Was
the
it? It was pink and purple, wasn't it? Strawberry and
Yep,
grape.
that was the original one.
Yep.
That groundbreaking box they had with the
Yeah.
never closed.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the original. Yeah, yeah, you pop that tab open and that was it. You were
Yep.
eating them or
That's because we all slobber all over it and get all
Yeah.
wet. Instead of
Right.
dumping it in your mouth, you just
Yep.
then they stick inside. And it was at that point you just
Yep.
stuck your finger in and ripped the whole top off of it and downed it.
Yep.
It was a shot of whiskey.
The other one was Airheads were some of my favorites. I liked those.
Laffy Taffy.
Um, okay.
I wasn't too much of a
Not,
taffy
depending on the
kid because I had a
flavor.
lot of fillings. I
Yeah.
had teeth when I was a kid. A lot of fillings. Didn't
Yeah.
pull those out. Uh,
Depending on the flavor on that one. Hey, fun fact.
Banana.
you probably like banana runs too, don't you?
Oh
Oh,
no.
Tooth breaker right there.
absolutely.
What's
Yeah.
worse, a banana runt or what's the completely just lost their logo is the corn guy with a missing tooth because they're so goddamn corn nuts. What's worse on your teeth, a corn nut or a banana runt? He thinks created more cracked crowns than humanity than a banana
E-
runt or a corn nut.
Even worse than banana runts was the off-brand runts that you could get in
What were they called? Cunt?
the turnstile or whatever.
Okay.
Whatever I forget that the dispenser.
Art.
Um,
When's the
those were
when's the
even
last time
harder
you've
and
seen
they
a
taste
candy
worse.
dispenser? I just realized, when's the last time you've seen a red candy dispenser?
It's been a while. We used to see them at the grocery store a lot. You'd see
Gas
them like even when
station?
I was a kid, maybe a gas station, yeah, but even when I was a kid, you go up there for 25, 58 cents, 75 cents or something like that. You could get a sticker, you could get the little bubble thing that had like a little figure in
Mhm.
it, or you could do the candy thing, but you don't
Or
see them
the
anymore.
hombres, whatever the amigos, the little cholo characters that came in.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
I
those.
just realized the coin op industry, soda machines, you can put debit card scanner. You can't attach a debit card scanner to a. That's probably why
Mhm.
they went away. No one has quarters in their pockets anymore. That makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
That's probably why bubblegum. See,
Well, and I'm sure.
instinctively, you want to think because they're fucking gross and you have all those grubby kids putting their fingers in there. But
yeah.
I don't think, we've seen a lot of reports. The average cell phone, the average keyboard has more fecal matter than the toilets at Yankee Stadium. But no one's ever done that on a gumball machine dispenser, which I'm sure is
Hey,
pretty fucking
you
gross.
want to know one place that you might find something like that would be
A,
like,
a baseball card store or something.
no, I'd say,
Chuck E. Cheese.
yeah, something like that.
If
Like
they're
one of those
converted to the
kinds of
token
places.
systems. Yeah.
Well, even if it wasn't, even if they didn't convert, because now it's all a card. There is
I
no
know, but
token system,
But
so
that's my point. The little red machines, there's no way to affix an electronic device unless
right,
it was a box that would turn the crank for you.
right.
Because there's
But
no coin, no one has coins on them to use the damn
but
thing.
they're like this big,
Oh,
and they
gotcha.
had the lights in them, and
Oh
then when
yeah,
you
those style.
rotated it, and the fucking gumball would do nine
Oh
thousand
yeah,
spins all
those.
the way down
Yeah,
to the bottom.
gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact,
But do you think COVID killed some of that?
could have
Yeah,
been.
probably.
Fun fact, Fruit Stripes or
Mhm.
Fruit Stripe,
Was that a Wrigley company?
that was owned by
Stripel Fruital International or something stupid.
mm, doesn't say.
Anyhow, what's your fun fact on that?
Fun fact, Fruit Stripe gum started production in 1960s. In the 1960s.
Sounds about right, because I think prior to that, everything else was spearmint flavored. Yeah,
Yeah.
It
It was just discontinued last year.
makes
I haven't seen Fruit Stripe gum in probably 2 decades.
yeah, because
But they were
fucking
still
flavor.
making it up until last year.
I think, you know what sold fruit stripe gum? That goddamn zebra. If it wasn't for that damn
Yipes the zebra.
no one would buy the damn gum. It was all the marketing in that fucking zebra. Just like I think, fun fact, Fruit Loops, they're all the same flavor, regardless of the color. All the individual loops, same exact flavor.
I
Are they?
believe that.
Yep. Okay, I know we got a hard out, so even though we haven't gone through a whole list of candies, if something pops in your head, we'll go with it. Mike, I don't know if they fed you guys this load of bullshit when you were a kid, but they definitely laid it on us pretty thick.
Sure.
That was Morgan. It's a dangerous world out there. People are tampering with candy. What should you do to ensure your child's safety?
You should take their bag of candy to the ER and have it x-rayed.
Do you believe people believe that that was going on? I asked ChatGPT today, I said, hey, in the 80s and 90s, people were lying about x-ray, but if it were true, and in a large city, a hospital did x-ray candy, how much would it cost said hospital per Halloween? And this is the reply we got from ChatGPT. It's a little long. We'll break it down. He said, that's a fascinating question, and you're right. The take your candy to the hospital, get an x-ray story from the 80s and 90s was urban legend, not a widespread real practice, but a few hospitals did actually offer it briefly, mostly as a PR or community outreach stunt. Let's estimate what the cost would be if a large city hospital really x-rayed candy all night long. First, we got to break down how is the candy x-rayed. Keep in mind, in the 80s, there was no digital x-ray like we have nowadays. Everything was analog. Candy wasn't ran through a photo lab. It used medical x-ray machines, not film developers like photography darkrooms. Hospitals used either A, the radiographic film, which required developer fix and stop bath, the same exact shit I used in high school in black and white photography, or digital x-ray plates after about mid-1990s. For the 19 Airs film-based system, developer and fix were used in automatic processing, e.g. the Kodak RP Exomat. Each x-ray sheet was roughly $1 to $3 per film, plus chemical and machine maintenance. 2. Per cost estimates in 1990s dollar. Let's assume a hospital standard 10 by 12 inch film for small objects, such as candy. A film sheet was $2 a piece. That's bulk rate. Keep in mind, this is 1990s money. Developer chemicals, developer fix, stop bath, 25 cents per x-ray. Technician labor, estimated cost for an x-ray tech in the 90s was $60. So we're going to break it down to $60 an hour. They're going to break it down to about $10. Machine, electricity, wear, 50 cents. Total per scan, $12.75. Now you're saying, Don, whoopty shit, that ain't a lot. So the total cost for a big city Halloween night, a large-scale hospital, let's say in this hypothesis, scanned 1,000 families in one evening. A realistic turnaround for a city such as Chicago or Boston. So 1,000 scans at $12.75 equals $12,750 for one night of Halloween. That's around $13,000 a night, the equivalent to $25,000 to $30,000 in today's revenue. So how many hospitals do you think were actually spending $12,750 a night on Halloween to x-ray people's candies? Here's what happened.
Goose egg.
When Mike's mom showed up with the candy and Mike's out there, get the x-ray, the nurse said, we'll be right back. They grabbed the candy. You can't come back because of radiation poisoning. They went back there, dumped it on the table, stole a piece of candy or two that they want, candy tax, put the shit back in your plastic pumpkin or sack. Okay, the average x-ray takes about 7.5 minutes. We're kind of busy. 15 minutes later, they're walking out, just happen to be chewing a fucking stick of fucking Hubba Bubba. Here's your candy back. You're good to go. They weren't x-raying shit. There's no way. Why it didn't last. Hospitals that actually did this practice quickly realized that no tainted candy was ever found. It clogged up the ER workflow. Could you imagine? It's Halloween. You're a mechanic. Your fucking tire mounting sheen blew up on you. You got a belt to the side of the face. Your jaw's broken. You need to get x-rays, but sorry, Sheila's back here x-raying 83 bags of candy. You're going to have to wait.
Crock of shit.
The expense and legal it was expensive and legally pointless. Most of the hospitals who did this stopped within a few years, though some police departments kept the offer alive as safety reassurance campaign rather than a real service. So then it said, if you like, I can break down what developer fixed stop bath supplies would have cost per gallon. Long story short, after the equation on all that, if they were doing it per gallon, oh, here we go. This is fun. Today's published price, 10-gallon Kodak compatible kits offer 100 blah, 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 blah. So the way these automated machines work is you would have the stop bath, the fix, and all that run through, then have to resupply it. According to this, the ballpark chemical cost for one night at 1,000 scan equaled about $550, replenishment to $600, including the initial fill. So you're adding that $600 on top of the 12 that we previously mentioned, and it was just a huge lie, right? It was trying to calm down the paranoid mothers because they're putting razor blades in the candy. They're putting razor blades.
That's like mass hysteria type shit, right?
Yeah.
One person, says something and then it spreads into a little group and then it spreads into a town and then it spreads into counties and then across the state. And then, next thing you know, the news outlets are getting a hold of it and going, make sure you check your kid's candy. I mean, my parents, when I was coming up, I mean, they would dump it out and sift through it just to make sure nothing was open, basically.
How many of those candies you mentioned could you put a razor blade in? Maybe a Hershey bar if you tried really hard, the full-size Hershey.
Yeah.
A Reese cup, maybe. But once again, the package is going to have a big tear in the side of it.
Yeah. The thing that I would say that would be more concerning would be like a sewing needle or a stick pin or something like that. Something relatively small that could.
Now we saved that for the '90s during the AIDS scare. Remember that?
Yeah.
People are putting HIV infested needles on the back of gas pumps and then the coin returns on public payphones. You gotta be careful when you get that coin out at public payphone. You're gonna get AIDS. Heard that one a lot. That was one that went around. So yeah, I wonder how many people actually, granted as a kid, but now as an adult, even before you do the research, like there's no way in hell anybody did that.
Yeah.
Especially after you paid the cost after you go to the emergency room for the first time and realize how much the shit cost. You're like, there's no way.
It's common sense. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, but we're getting dumber. Did you ever see a costume? Maybe. Did you guys ever do like the school costume parades, like in third grade? Everybody wore the costume to school. Punk rock was a big thing in the 80s. Everybody would be like, I'm going to wear 2 different color shoes, put a hair in spikes, spray it green, and blah, blah, blah. I remember we walked to school when I was in 5th grade because we lived at Rickenbacker Air Force Base. And me and my buddy Terry, skateboarding was our life. That's all we did. And Terry asked the teacher, hey, can we bring our skateboards for the Halloween parade? No, liability. What if we take off one wheel? So then we couldn't ride it. So that was the caveat. We had to bring a wrench to school to make sure we took off one wheel. But the saddest costume still breaks my heart to fucking this day. And poor William probably passed away. He had a disease super young. He's probably definitely in a wheelchair by this age. He had some sort of disease that affected his walk, and so he kind of stumbled, stuttered when he walked. But when I lived in Rickenbacker, that was the southwest side of Columbus. That was kind of like lower class and like middle lower class, and so we had the whole gambit. The saddest fucking costume. William came to school. Everybody knew how to make paper Chinese stars back then, right? You folded the 2 different like footballs and you tie them together, and we all could make paper Chinese stars. He made a paper Chinese star out of tinfoil and got a black trash bag and cut a hole in it, put it over his head, glued the Chinese star to his chest, went in the bathroom and put water in his hair, and he was a cop who died in a flood.
Jesus.
That's all he could afford. It was creative.
Oh, that's dark.
But
That's using your imagination
he
though.
was a cop who died in his plastic bag was his poncho. Of course, the hair dried out in 10 minutes, so it lasted the whole parade. But yeah, I was like, that just fucking broke my heart. Like, wow. Because, either you wore the really creative shit or your parents are still going to J.C. Penney and buying the newer version of that plastic mask. That still was, by then it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but they were still viable options. But here's poor William and his hefty cinch sack and his fucking aluminum Chinese star with water on his head.
Yeah, by the time I got into like high school, it was less about the candy and more about riding around in your truck, bumping fucking any kind of fucking music or whatever, all dressed up in whatever the hell you wanted, and then going to parties.
So, as somebody who's been carrying a firearm for over 13 years daily, one of the biggest inconveniences is when you come home, you need to take your firearm off of yourself and put it somewhere safe, somewhere secure, especially if you have kids. Now, I know most of us are responsible. We have a gun safe somewhere, but let's be honest, usually these gun safes are big, they're bulky, they're kind of out of the way because they're a bit of an eyesore. Your wife doesn't want them where everybody can see them, so sometimes they're in your closet behind some clothes, sometimes they're in the garage, sometimes they're in the mudroom. And let's be honest, taking your firearm out and walking to those locations to secure it is a pain in the butt. But you have to be a responsible firearm owner, especially if you have kids in the house. That's why you need to get yourself a Stopbox Pro portable gun safe. You can make it non-portable. You can drill some holes in it and mount it to a place of convenience in your house, but it requires no batteries and no electricity. You simply come in your house, walk up to your safe, choose your finger button combinations, open a safe, remove your firearm from your person, put it in the safe, close your safe. Just that easy. It's secure. So do yourself a favor, head over to stopboxusa.com/D410 and get all the information today on your Stopbox Pro. When seconds count, trust the only non-fail firearm storage box, Stopbox Pro, at stopboxusa.com/D410. I was too young for this because this is when before we moved to Ohio. I moved to Ohio in second grade, so this is when I was like in first grade. Lore of Cabbage Night. Did you guys have any sort of night, a devil's night, a debauchery night? We had cabbage night. And that's when it was like the night before Halloween, all the high schoolers would go out in toilet paper houses, shaving cream people's car windows, and just full blown teenage debauchery that I don't think kids would do nowadays or could get away, especially with Ring doorbells, could get away with.
Well, I don't know. I've seen a few videos of, I don't know if it was like high school football team or something like that, but kids, believe it or not, still know how to TP a house or egg a house or something like that. And they pulled it up on a Ring doorbell where the kid got caught by the owners of the house and they were out doing, dinner or whatever. But it was expected.
Yeah.
They knew that they were going to do it because it's every year. It's the same thing. And they pulled it up and he knew the kid that was doing it too. And, he was talking to him through the cam and he was like, well, be safe and have fun. Good job, you got me.
Did you see the one
kept
where
moving on? So
the kid was sent up there to the door to do the ding dong ditch by his
yeah,
buddies, but he's too good of a kid, and so he rang the Ring doorbell, and the guy's like, yeah, sorry, my friends are out there waiting. I'm supposed to ring the doorbell and run." And the guy's like, "Hold on a second." And the guy opens the door. He's like, "Okay, here's what we're gonna do." He said, "I want you to turn around, run like hell, and start screaming." And he said, "1, 2, 3." Kid talk. The guy chased, "You goddamn son of a bitch!" On the car. So that the kid looked like he was super courageous to his asshole buddies. He just chased, "Get out of here!"
I know there was another kid that I saw that was supposed to ding dong ditch, and the lady opened the door, and he was like, "Oh no." He's like, "I'm supposed to ding dong ditch you." I'm so
I
sorry.
remember when we discovered that every cable box remote control worked on the same frequency. And it was at
Yeah.
Rickenbacker, and all these were Rickenbacker Air Force Base. These were all ex-military housing from World War II that got converted into civilian housing. So they all had the same floor plan, the same windows, and now we all had, it's Sunday Night Football. Click, change the channel, run down the street, go find somewhere you can see their TV. Click, change the channel, run down the street. We'd go from house to house changing people's cable boxes because we all had the same cable company. It wasn't
That
like
was
this.
the scene from Grumpy Old Men when he was, because their houses were right next to each
Oh,
other,
yeah,
and
that's
when he
right.
would do the Powerball, he would stand there and
What?
change it as he was trying to get the numbers. My friend, actually, well, I guess a friend of mine that I had in elementary school, it was the coolest thing. I was really into like spy and like gadget stuff,
Hmm.
and he brought in a Casio watch that could control the TV,
Nice.
and
I
it had
somebody had
it
one
had
in high school. Yeah, so they
yeah, it
not in
had
the 90s.
power on and off, volume and channel, and then it had numbers 1 through 9 and
Hmm.
0. But it was still a watch.
Yeah,
You could
like the
still
calculator watch, but it had the.
exactly. And I'll never forget. We were sitting in whatever the hell class we were in, and he managed to get it paired to the TV because remember back then you had to put a code in for the
Yep.
TVs, program the remotes. Um, but I don't know if he just happened to have the right code or how it worked, but he was sitting there in class and he was clicking it, and he kind of had to keep it out because they still had what was it, IR or RF or
Yeah,
whatever it was that
infrared.
was yeah, and he kind of had to keep it out. And he'd hit the button and the TV would pop on, and the teacher would be like, "What the heck?" And then she'd turn it off, and then he'd sit there, and click it back on. All right, who's doing that? So then she'd do it again, and then he'd pop it back on, and all right, who's got a remote in here? Nobody ever had a remote, so we drove her nuts.
The funniest thing before we wrap up, because Mike's got to leave here in about 6 minutes. I funniest thing ever in our high school, we had a physics class, and well, all of them had physics class. One of the physics projects they would do is they'd make the hovercraft using like a shop vac or whatever, and you get a piece of plywood and you put the trash bag in the shop vac. You can push the kids down the hall because it's physics. I remember Jason and I forget his buddy's name. They weren't in physics class, but they decided it was of utmost importance that they went rollerblading down the hallways of the high school. And whenever somebody popped the head, teacher popped, what do you do? Physics! They just yell physics class. And they're doing laps for like 2 hours just rollerblading down the hall. Physics! Physics! Oh, it was the funniest shit ever.
That was always I had a digital media class when I was like a freshman or sophomore or something like that. You'd have to learn how to make like that edit videos, believe it or not. And that was always fun because we would always, you know, all right, you guys are, go out, do your video or whatever, figure out all your stuff, and we'd run down the hallways and cause all kinds of chaos saying that we were doing it for digital media. So it's kind of the same thing. I drove my car one time because we were filming like a drunk driving commercial or whatever, and I had a piece of shit Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer in 1992 that was just junk. And I remember I was like, well, I'll haul ass down the road and you guys film it, and then I'll just park my truck in like a ditch. And like if we need to, we'll go get, what's his name's truck and we'll, hook up and we'll pull it out if we need to. But I put my truck down in a ditch and put my face down on the dash with, blood and shit all over my face. And that was one of our projects is I got to drive my car when I was in school.
I was watching somebody I knew, his school project from the 90s. It was a video project, and in the video, he's walks up to a guy in the street and gets a brown bag off of him, and the cop drives by and he freaks out and starts running. And then it's just a montage of him running through like the local train depot, and like him running across the top of the trains and then jumping over fences. Long story short, this long action-packed montage where he thinks he's being chased, and at the end he sits down and opens up, it's a fucking bag of tacos.
That's pretty good.
Well, Mike's got to run. That's going to wrap it up for this holiday episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. As always, head over to whatsinyourhead.com, click on that Patreon link, sign up and subscribe. While you're at it, go to youtube.com, look for Poles and Paddles. That is a YouTube channel. We're pushing out there trying to build content and viewership on there. And go check out D410 Media as well. And obviously, if you're watching the video version of this, you're already there. Make sure you like, subscribe. Send us an email to info@d-410.com, and we'll talk to you all next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.